Life at sea can be rewarding, but the pressures can be challenging too. Seize the Mind trains seafarers to become mental health first aiders, vital for both well-being and safety on board. Mental health first aid helps identify depression, anxiety, and burnout, creating safer, more supportive environments. Our globally recognized courses equip crew with the tools to support themselves and to support each other. Support your crew's mental well-being. Book your training with Seize the Mind today. Seize the Mind, mental health first aid for seafarers. Visit seizethemind.co.uk for more information.
Welcome to this episode of Tales from the Superyacht Laundry. I am here with the glorious, radiant Sophie, who wasn't out last night at all at the Monaco Yacht Show.
No, I'm super fresh. Super fresh. Very professional.
So Sophie Barber. Barber?
That
That's
is
right.
my surname.
I wasn't out last night and I'm still double checking myself. We are at the Monaco Yacht Show. Obviously you guys can't see this glorious little rabbit hutch that we are, but it's perfectly situated and it means that I have managed to collar you for a little bit of a podcast interview.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
It's well, we've been talking for ages, and you're actually one of the people that I wanted to record in person.
Oh, that's nice.
Well, no, because we do podcasts remotely, but I don't know. We have a chat beforehand, so obviously, always the interviews go that little bit better when you know each other.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
we've been chatting for a while.
We have been chatting for a while.
That's
so
really nice.
Obviously, we need to get things started. Right. So this is Tales from the Superyacht Laundry. Mm-hmm. We like to collect all of the incredible stories of how you got out of the industry.
Absolutely.
But we need to start at the beginning. How did you get in?
How did I get in?
What was Sophie doing before the yachting industry?
Well, I had done a ski season. Well, I was working in London actually for 3 years doing as a PA, and I really wanted to do something else. I was like, there must be something else more fun. And I wanted to do a ski season actually when I was 18, but I had a boyfriend at the time who was lame. Anyway, we went to Australia. He didn't want to do a ski season, so that's fine. Obviously, we broke up afterwards. But
so you were a traveller from very early on.
Yes.
You wanted to go and, no offence to the folks or anything, you were like, right, I'm off.
Exactly, yeah. I really wanted to do something else, something different. And so I did a ski season. I worked in an après ski bar in Maribel. It was fantastic. And then my best friend told me that last year she started yachting. Now, she sort of conned me. She said, it's really great. There's loads of fit guys and there's loads of parties and you just do a tiny bit of cleaning. And I was like, oh, that sounds like my kind of thing. You know, I could be down for that.
Not the tiny bit of cleaning bit.
Not the tiny bit of cleaning, all the hot boys and the parties. I'm not really a reformed party girl, but anyway, semi-reformed. So
semi-retired.
Yeah, semi-retired. I only come out about once every 3 months. And then I die.
Yeah.
No. So I went out there to Palma with my best friend and we went really early and we got on an amazing suntan. We just went to the beach every day. And after about a month, we were like, right, actually, we really need to maybe try and work.
Did you stay in the crew houses?
Yes. And it was called... This is called the Crack Den.
No!
It was horrible. It was like in the centre of Palma by the Corner Bar.
Right.
There was a little road up there and it had like 5 floors and it was just, we had our own room, me and Rach, so actually that was, kind of nice. But the rest of it was just like gross. Anyway, it was fun. And eventually we had to suddenly decide to like do some dock walking and actually get out there. We're like, oh, these jobs are not just, falling at my feet.
It's just a reason they don't know why we're here.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, we've got like the most tanned I've ever been in my life. I'm like this gorgeous colour brown. We've met loads of fun people. And eventually I found a job on a sailing yacht. Little one. It was actually wasn't that little. It was a 37 metre.
Right.
And all the crew were French and they were old. Like I was 23 and they were, I think, 45, 50. And the captain, I think, was 65. But it was hilarious. They spoke English as well. But they were so French. Like we used to come out with a little hatch at the top and they'd be like smoking fags, having wine like during the service. And I'd pop right down and do some plates. It was hilarious. But obviously I was a bit envious because I saw all the other boats with all the cool crew, and there's me and my old French crew
with the fit
boys. Yeah, and I'm like, oh, like, here's me with my old mates. But anyway, yes, I did the season, and then
What was your obviously your first when you eventually decided to look for work?
Yeah, I know.
What was your first impressions like when you got on? Because sailing's obviously different to my experience. Like I always feel like I was a lazy yachty because I just went on to motorboats. I'm like, I'm not doing that sailing stuff.
Well, absolutely. Well, this actually was a sailing boat, but the owners were really old and he had Parkinson's, so we didn't put the sails up once.
What?
So literally, it was like a motorboat.
Right,
it was like this old couple that we just cruised around basically, and that's we did an amazing crossing though, amazing. And it was like my first. I'd never really seen any like seas like that, you know, like when it's like smooth. Like it was absolutely incredible. I remember like in between my watches, like getting sunbathing. I was very into having a tan back in the day.
Really?
Not anymore. Now I want to wipe away the years of tanning. It's too late. So I remember just being on the bow and then just, you know, chilling out, was it having a fag, because that was what we did at the time. So
are you allowed to actually work for French people and not smoke?
I don't know. I think it's part of the rules, isn't it? But this was, I mean, I'm not like 15 years ago or more. Isn't that crazy how the time...
Surely not.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking back. I feel like it was like about 5 years ago, but it can't possibly. I've got one boy who's 6 and we've been married for 10 years. So...
Yeah, no, I don't like the maths recently.
No.
My sister keeps setting me up and sending me memes about if you watch this as a child.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that.
Do you know what I mean? You must be premenopausal. I'm like, what?
I know, my algorithm seems to be perfectly spot on with all the things that I love. You know, it's like memes about being a mom, memes about, you know, work issues, you know, all those sort of stuff.
Do you know that so obviously in the UK we have Sky TV. It listens to you.
As well as Google?
Yeah, no, so it listens to you. So we get in a lot, like, it's not going to say much about my poor husband, but it keeps saying we need to sort our wills out and, like, speedy cremation. And then and I'm pretty sure the adverts about Tenor Lady are for me. They're like, she must be getting on a bit.
She's in the right age bracket for these.
She's going to want these nice hold-up pants.
Yeah. We've got them with flowers on now. Like the ones you wear after you have a baby.
Piss yourself.
They look nice now. Looking coming black. They've got a floral design.
It's all the time on the TV. Like, it really annoys me.
Yeah.
The algorithms need to stop.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, you know, I can piss myself and be relaxed about it.
Yeah, and look nice in my nappy pants. Anyway, we move on. We digress.
We digress. So you're on your first sailing boat. So, like, obviously, the first couple of boats, that's when it kind of sinks in, like, is this for me or not?
Yes.
And you were in the it's for me camp?
I was on the fence.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. I really enjoyed certain aspects of it, but I don't really like cleaning. That was a bit of an issue for me, considering pretty much the whole part of the job was cleaning. So I actually preferred it when I moved on to deck. After a couple of seasons on the interior, I then had a season where I was stew deck, and then I was deckhand on another vessel, and that I really enjoyed. Because I was out there, because I'm quite a sporty person. Like, I used to be a personal trainer. I love to be outdoors. I like to sort of, you know, show the boys I can do it. You know, with fenders, it was a 60 metre and the fender was, you know, as big as me. I was like, I can do it. I've got the lines. And I really loved that sort of, you know, girl power.
And you're closer to the boys, obviously.
Of course, yeah, which was great. And getting a tan.
T-shirt tan.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was a problem. I'd always be sneakily trying to, you know, like roll them up and trying to get the shorts up a bit, you know, while I'm polishing the stainless and stuff. I'd be like cheeky.
Oh, so you moved on to deck?
Yeah. Which I
Floristry wasn't for you, no?
No, it didn't lose. But, you know, I wasn't a very serious yachty. I was in it for the fun. You know, I was in it for the money, for the adventure, and, you know, might not have necessarily had all the best references, you know.
Who knows?
So they go out quite a lot, you know.
Fun time.
Yeah, but it's like another life. And I watched Below Deck quite a lot because I just love the drama, and I miss it. I get sort of like, you know, pangs. I think, oh, I wish I could maybe go back and work on a boat for a bit.
Yeah, you kind of go through that like work. I've watched, because we had Daisy on, I did watch a few episodes of Below Deck, and other people have talked about it. I couldn't get over it was stressing me out watching it though, because like obviously it's all staged, like
yeah, absolutely.
But I don't like watching it all go wrong slowly. Like it's part of me.
All implode.
I haven't had long enough off the boat, I think, to just watch it and go, oh, that's
When
funny.
did you leave?
So I left. It's like 7 years ago now.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
And
it doesn't feel like that long.
Were you in it for a long time?
No, I would have, if I'd found it earlier. So like people like yourself that like found it in the early, I would have, I would have loved to have found it earlier. I did travel, but not.
But I only found out about it by accident, honestly. Like, I had no idea about it. It really wasn't. Nobody knew about it.
No,
in England, it wasn't a thing.
No, it wasn't a thing, and I literally, I found out at a family barbecue. Like a friend of my parents said, "Have you ever thought of yachting?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?
What is yachting?"
And then I went did some research. And I'm like, hell yeah, I could
sounds kind of fun.
Rich people. Like, why haven't I found that before? So I was quite old. Actually, spoke to a lovely young lady at Rascas today, because she's 28, and she's like, "Am I too old?" I'm like, No,
definitely not.
But you do, like with everything, you've got to go hard and fast. So, like, obviously, but like I said to her, you need your ducks in a row to make sure you get enough money. Like, did you do any of the responsible stuff? Did you sort your finances out, pay into a pension?
I did
Or did you just buy a nice handbag?
Well, to be honest, I didn't even earn that much. Like my first boat, I think I got paid €1,600.
Oosh.
I know, but then it was like
fags or something.
Yeah, and I was like, I was just so happy to have a job. I was like, oh my God, I've got a job. This is amazing. And back then it was low, but it wasn't as, people would be looking at maybe 2,000.
Yeah.
So it wasn't as bad as it would be now. People are like, oh my God, I never worked for €1,600. But I didn't care. I had a job.
Yeah, but things were cheaper back then.
Yeah, things were cheaper. And you're also not spending any money when you're on board and all that kind of stuff. But no, I didn't save any money at all. And what I did is I went travelling between. I went 6 months in Asia, and which was lovely.
No, you've got to work hard, play hard.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I really wanted to do. I wanted to save up money so then I could go travelling different places.
Right.
So that was sort of my goal. I'd work for a season and I'd be like, right, what am I going to do? Where am I going to go?
Right.
And then eventually I just became, it was like 27 and I thought, I really want to meet someone and like get married and have kids. And I just feel that this is not really going anywhere for me, And so, I decided to do one more season in the mountains. I was like, I'm going to manage a chalet. I'm going to be like, telling my friends, I'm going to manage it. I'm like a manager. Here we go. I'm managing this, managing that. We were having a laugh about it. I'm like, it turns out it was an absolute disaster. Because nobody takes it seriously in the ski season, and I'm managing this luxury chalet, and all my staff are rubbish.
Well, no, it's a glorious, it's like being an 1830s rep. If anybody's young, they probably won't know what that is. But basically, back in the day, it was like the first holiday that you got to go on with your girlfriends.
Yeah,
there was these companies that did it, and basically, you're managing the team that manage the people that are going out to get.
Yeah, exactly.
But the only reason they took the job for the summer is to pie.
Exactly.
So it's like herding cats.
Oh, and it was awful. And when it was my day off, everything would just crumble. Like, my stewardess, she was just terrible. Bless her, I really liked her. We had such a laugh. But when I left her alone, like, the breakfast would be absolute shambles. And they'd come up to me and be like, well, it wasn't, the guests would come up to me and say, it wasn't very good. She didn't have this. There weren't any forks. It was that kind of level. Do you know what I mean? I was like, oh my God. But I made the mistake of being everyone's friend, because I had never managed anyone really properly before.
No.
I didn't really know how to do it. And so I became everyone's friend. Like, look at us, we're having a jolly time with the team. Yeah. Let's have a few drinks, blah, blah, blah. And then it turns out nobody respected me at all.
No.
And then I couldn't really claw it back. And then I was just the one that's in the chalet all the time, but like, bloody hell, nothing's been done right. It's my own fault.
It is different, that step up. I think being obviously being a chief stew, so like being one fun member of the team, and then actually got responsibility.
Oh yeah, exactly.
The captain and they're just going to kick my ass.
Yeah, exactly.
Not right. I used to forget napkins all the time. If I was particularly tired, setting up in the mornings, for some reason my brain just never remembered to put napkins down. until a guest got up for breakfast. And then I'd be like...
One time I got the tablecloth and I shook it over the edge and I lost like 3 napkins. And we didn't have very many. It was on the sailboat. It was on the first boat. We didn't even have very many. I was like, oh my God. And I got so much trouble. She's like, why did you shake it over the side? I was like, I don't know. We had loads of crumbs on it. And then I was struggling all the rest of the season because I didn't have enough napkins. Oh, gosh.
Yeah. We're all perfectionists, not.
No.
So when was it that you kind of thought, oh, maybe this is, it wasn't even on board. You were actually in a chalet when you were like, oh, I want to give up all of this.
Yeah, well, actually,
partying, travelling.
I met my husband. That was what happened basically in the second week of my ski season. Met my husband, and so after the season, we went back to London because he had a flat in London, which was great. I thought this is perfect.
He's got a dick. I don't have anything in.
I've got nothing to bring to the party. You've got a flat in Greenwich. I was like, well, that's fantastic. And so we went back to London for a bit, and I trained to be a personal trainer, so I was doing that like in gyms in London and also in a freelance way as well. So I was really enjoying that. But we just wanted to do something else. And I was like, well, you know what? Why don't we go to France? Because my husband speaks fluent French. So we decided that we were going to go. I said, what about Antibes? Because I've been there a few times on the boats. It's really
fun.
Nice. Yeah, and I hadn't been there that much because I was mostly Palma based, but I've been there, for a few months or whatever. And so we went to go and have a little look, and he was like, I love it. And I was like, great. Then we found an apartment, and we just thought, we're just going to go and see what happens. And he was starting to become a translator, but freelance, but he hadn't done it before, so he was sort of blagging his way through it. And the beginning was quite sketchy, and I was working in a French bar in Antibes, a Café Brun, with all the Frenchies, and that was quite funny. So we muddled it over.
Does that still exist?
It does, but they've got a new owner. Which I really enjoyed it, but it was a bit of a transient thing. We were in Antibes, but it was great. And then I'd always thought about doing recruitment. I'd always quite fancied it ever since I was in Palma.
Really? Oh, you're not, you must be so rare. Like, I don't know who fancies doing recruitment.
I don't see why more people don't fancy it. Because all you have to do is you chat to people all day long. Like, I'd love to meet you.
You know, recruitments to get, like, you're like, oh, just chat to people. No, you're supposed to find them a job.
It depends who you're working for, really. I'm working for the client, really. Sure. But I'm also working for the candidate. So it's, but I really enjoy to build those relationships, and I enjoy to find people their perfect role. Yeah. And I enjoy to, talk to the owners as well and see what they're about. And it's just, I think if you like speaking to people, it's a great job. But I remember when I first started yachting, going in, I think it was like crew and concierge, I think, in Palma and blue water, and be like, oh, I kind of fancy doing that later. But then I sort of put it behind me for a bit, and I just sort of forgot about it. And then when I came back to Antibes, I found a job working blue water in the reception. Oh. And that's how it all started. And I sort of wanted to be a recruiter, but I was like, oh, I'll be a receptionist, that's fine. And then I had a baby, and then there wasn't any space for me to come back, so I went to Hill Robinson.
Oh, right.
Yeah, which was great. And so, but yeah, I really like recruitment. It's it just suits me, really.
What do you think? What's different now from when you started?
In terms of recruitment?
Because obviously, dog walking, I mean, I was a snob, I never dog walked.
You never dog walked?
No, I was too old, I was 28, and they were like, oh, you're just going to have to put this schoolgirl skirt on.
Yeah.
Polo on, and go get a job. I'm like, what? No.
How did you get a job then?
I just went through recruitment agents.
Yeah.
No, so I didn't. I basically went or emailed them in the morning saying hi, and then I'd go to the toilet bowl beach.
Of course, yeah.
And then stay there and look for work.
Yeah, on my phone.
On my phone, exactly. While I was laying down.
That's
and possibly a bottle of rosé. I don't know.
Well, exactly, the usual.
But I was just like, because obviously the girls, that were going out every morning, they're getting the train to Imperial or San Remo, and I'm like,
no, not for me.
No. Because I had in my head, I had tons of hospitality experience.
Yeah,
I had
so many relatable skills.
Yeah, no,
I've seen a million. I see a million of you coming.
I'm just I've got so much experience. So you just need that one opportunity, that trial shift.
Yeah, to show them what I'm made of. Exactly. I've got this,
and I got my trial shift.
There we go.
So, and then that was it. Actually, somebody got hired before me. They went for the younger option when we were both interviewed. Yeah. They regretted it and got rid of her after like a week and a half. And then they called me like, actually, you're old, but you'll do it.
And isn't it funny how 28 is old in yachting? It's absolutely mad, isn't it? But also what's really mad is the people, the CVs are coming through now. 2006 they were born. Can you even believe that?
It's devastating.
That's just awful.
There's nothing wrong with you. If you're listening to this podcast and you were born in 2006.
I'm just very jealous, to be honest. We are horrendously jealous. In fact, no, I don't want to be 18. I want to be about 26, 27, and maybe stay there.
24 was a good
year for you?
Good year for me. Yeah. 24 to 34 was really good. No, actually, my whole life up until this day.
But surely you're only 33 now. How can you possibly...
thinking about freedom and travel and stuff like that, they were my years to... Yeah. A bit like yourself, you just had that freedom to go do what you wanted to do.
But I do feel now that I'm now in my 30s, I would say early 30s. I'm staying at 33, by the way, for the next 5 years.
Oh, okay.
And then I'll have to up it a little bit to make it more realistic. But 33. Anyway, don't you find that now, having been in your 30s onwards, that you know yourself so much better? And I feel the self-confidence that comes from that I didn't have in my 20s.
Well, not to get too scientific, I'd love to do the science about it, but it's all to do with estrogen levels.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, I have no idea about this.
So, basically, as you get older, there's less estrogen, and the estrogen makes you agreeable, which can also, I think, although I haven't actually spoken to a psychologist about it, makes you a little bit nervous because you are agreeable all the time.
Yeah.
The reason why maybe older stews struggle on boats is because we can't be asked anymore. Like,
I give less less to give,
it's less to give, but we won't put up with it.
Yeah.
You know your mind, and I think older stews maybe sometimes might not be as attractive because if you are on a boat that's a bit wayward,
you don't
your
want
captain doesn't want pushback.
No, they want amenable people who would do so.
Exactly.
Yeah, who are a bit younger, less experienced. They think, oh, this seems a bit weird, but I'm going to do it anyway.
But you obviously get somebody like me and go, I'll be like...
Some older sasspots like ourselves.
That's bullshit.
Yeah, I'm not doing... Yeah, exactly. That's not working for me.
How is that not fair?
Yeah. I hadn't thought about that before, but actually I think you're so right.
No.
Yeah. It's not just because they like them to look younger. It's actually perhaps also the personality-wise and...
The power dynamic on board is very, very important, and also it's very tilted towards the male side. Now, we've talked about this in other episodes, especially in moments where there's a crisis on board. You've got a 26-year-old chief stew and you've got a 55-year-old captain. Now, even the most confident 26-year-old will struggle probably to call out a 55-year-old captain if they're not being... acting or even conducting themselves the way that you would. And women, when they work in the industry, it's always not in our favour.
No, I know what you mean. And also because there's a sort of hierarchy on the boats as well that needs to be respected. So there's all the extra, the captain is this, so it's difficult to approach him about something that they've...
Yeah, I mean, it's always going to be that way because I think, yourself, like you said, you wanted to start a family and you didn't want to be too... So it's a young girl's game, in a way.
Yeah.
And not because, well, I think, it is tiring. You're not going to want to do it in your 40s. I'm 40. No.
I hear you. No, I do not want to go back and clean up other people's bathrooms.
Imagine how much my feet would hurt. Like, they hurt back in the day. By this point, I'll be literally paralysed.
Well, exactly. And also my hips have hurt quite a lot sometimes, and I've got a bit of a dodgy knee.
So, you're in France, you're living, how's it going? Like, you're enjoying your life here, you've got fabulous kids. Is France going to be you forever?
Absolutely. I love the south of France because it's number one, the weather. And also, because I've been here now, 8 years or so, I made a really lovely bunch of... tap the mic. Lovely bunch of friends and a really nice little community. And, it's such a nice place to bring up your kids. Yeah. And what I like is, I live actually in the mountains. I live, let's say in the mountains. It's like Chateauneuf. It's sort of not really in the mountains. It's about 40 minutes from Antibes. we just bought a house, which
Oh,
I love. Yeah, so just doing all of that stuff. But what's really nice about it is it's in the countryside, so it's like I live in a house that's like got a forest around it, and it's just really lovely. But then I still get to come and work in Antibes, where it sort of feels like home, because I've been there for such a long time, and so it's got all the vibiness of Antibes, but I get the forest at home.
Nice.
So, yeah.
You got it perfect. So let's talk little bit about Blue Water. So anybody who's trying to find a job right now,
Yes,
they're going to know who you guys are.
absolutely.
I mean, you've been going ages. Like, obviously, it existed when I was... that was a long time ago.
Well, exactly. And the thing about Blue Water has been, I don't know how many years. It's a long time. And because we do the training and the crew, what that means is we get a lot of people, they might not necessarily have known us before, but they might have done an SCCW course with us, or the basic safety training course, and then they're introduced to Blue Water. So we do a lot with the junior crew and obviously senior crew as well. But us at Blue Water, we do all five options, which is management, charter, crew, training, and sales. Yeah, so we do everything. And we've got 2 offices, one in Palma and one in Antibes. I work in the Antibes office. And I look after, recently, the deck team, which is quite exciting for me.
Good.
Yeah, we decided to specialise down. We used to do share the positions out, which was nice as well, because then you get to work with different candidates, different clients, etc. But now we're specialising into departments, which is also great. So if you've got any aspiring deckies, you can reach out to me.
Have you seen an uptake in girls wanting to work on deck?
Yeah, absolutely. And I've actually really trying to advocate for females on deck. Having worked on deck myself, I love to see girls on deck climbing the ranks. I met a fantastic captain yesterday. If only I can remember what her name was. Anyway, she's captain on a 50 metre. She's been the captain on that boat, I think, for 10 years. She joined the industry at the age of 22, I think, and she's now 50-something.
Wow.
So, yeah, really inspirational. So I'm actually trying to reach out to other strong females and people, not necessarily a captain, but people who are moving up the ranks and want to sort of feature their stories and, get a bit of a buzz around that. I know I'm not the first person to do it, but I think it's interesting to inspire other females that are wanting to get on the deck. See, you can do it. We are as good as the men. We can do it. And there's a lot more acceptance of that now. Certainly, when I was in getting into yachting, there was much less females on deck.
Yeah, no. I mean, I'd be really frank. I don't get it. I didn't want to be out in the sun like that. I definitely didn't want to use a chamois. And when I had a fender, like you said, most fenders were my size. So like hauling them over the side. Like, I'll come out, I'll do fenders, but that's it. Like, that's it. Just leave me alone. I'm going back inside.
I was quite the opposite. When I was inside, I always wanted to be outside. I liked it because I love to do a washdown. It's like one of my favourite things.
What?
Yeah, because I also feel like it's like a bit of a workout, and I'm like a bit of a fitness person. Like, I just love it. So I'll be doing my washdown. It just would. Yeah, I just really enjoyed it, being outside and getting it all perfect. Like, just
I do the perfect thing on the inside.
Yes, exactly.
Inside, so I'm not as sweaty.
Yeah.
That's also not like sweltering heat. I remember one time they were doing what was it? Oh, I can't even remember what it's called now. But they resurfaced the teak. Oh, yeah. And I had to go outside and I didn't have any shoes on. And it was like literally exfoliated my feet.
Oh, when they were doing the two-part?
Yeah, two-part. They're like, you really shouldn't be out here with no shoes on. But they did make my feet really smooth. Which
imagine one time it was winter and we were, I think, maybe it wasn't winter, it was like March in Genoa. And I was doing the two-part of the day, but we were getting into every corner. This was on the 50 metre and we had like this guy, there was an Italian, basically all the Italians on deck, and there was one guy called the Fat Controller, not obviously to his face. He'd be there with a big machine like, and there we are in the corner scrubbing, and I remember getting like acid like down my, because I had my wellies on, and we're getting like acid down here, and we're like it's stinging my legs, and they were like, get in that corner, and I was like, oh, it was horrible. It was like raining, and I was like, with the acid, that was not fun.
It's not fun, but yeah, there is an upside to going out if they're doing two-part. There could be like a little quick exfoliation.
Yeah, who knew? I could do with a little bit of that myself right now, actually.
There you go. I don't recommend that for health and safety reasons. But there
hasn't been any scientific research on
this, but it worked out all right for me.
That's so funny.
So Blue Water, obviously have expanded. They're a bit of a beast in the industry.
I think everybody knows Blue Water. I hope that we're known as a friendly company, welcoming. I think people do generally feel like that. I know we make a lot of effort with people coming into the industry to help them on their way. Because it's difficult when you start because, a lot of agencies just, no thanks. Yeah,
Do you still do that thing where people used to queue out to register? Like, literally queue down the street.
Well, people don't do that anymore. Like, I remember that was definitely a thing. And that was a thing even when I first started Blue Water on reception before COVID.
And then it's all stopped.
And now I think because everyone got so used to being online, people don't necessarily come in as much. Especially the experienced crew. They don't really come. They don't really come and see us anymore. They call us. We have interviews and whatever. But I think we used to see more come in the door. But now it's since COVID, everyone's. I don't need to come in person. I will just do it online.
Just sit in the Blue Lady and then call you.
Yeah, exactly. But I love to meet someone face to face because you can't tell the same about someone on the phone. No. You can't get the same rapport. You can't really sort of get into it. And obviously, you've got to see what they look like as well, if they presented themselves well or
what do they smell.
Yeah, and sometimes people do smell.
They do.
Yeah.
That's a big no-no for anybody wanting to get in the industry.
Yeah, and sometimes you get sort of, captains come in, they smell like booze and fags, and I'm like, oh, God, why have you just come in after lunch? Like, just come in another day. So they swing by and think, let's pop in here. Yeah.
I've known about them for eons. What are your 3 bits of advice to somebody who's maybe just in a ski season? I might duck on into the yachting for a bit. What would you... Sophie before,
Young Sophie,
what would you tell her now, if you could?
I'll have to take it a bit more seriously.
Stop having so much fun.
Yeah, but I've always managed to sort of wing things. Things just sort of seem to happen. So my mum calls it flying by the seat of your pants. And I do seem to sort of just end up in things. And Mum's like, how did you do that? I'm like, I don't know. But anyway, words of advice. So you've got to meet as many people as possible. The more you're out there, the more interactions you're going to make. Because if you're looking for your first job, that is how you're going to find it. You're not really going to find it from an agency. You might, but you're more likely to find it when you meet someone, when you have a chat with someone. It could be in the bar, could be on the dock, could be, anywhere. You could meet a connection, and then, they might need some crew.
Yeah.
So I always say, if you're not out there every day, what are you doing? If you're looking for a job and you're not actually out there, what else have you got to do? You know what I mean? I'm like, you should be trying, obviously not if you're not feeling like on your top form or whatever, but you need to be out there, dock walking, meeting, doing many things.
Things like Monaco and stuff like that, it is good to at least come mooch about. There's loads of free drinks for crew.
I mean, the Monaco show is great.
Yeah, it's definitely worth a visit. We're going to obviously finish this and then go out there, out into the fray. It's raining as well.
It hasn't quite got the same allure, has it, when it's raining?
No, it's not. My nice strappy sandals are going to stay here.
Absolutely. But however, normally the show's absolutely roasting and it's too hot. So actually it's quite nice to actually a bit more.
We're never satisfied, basically.
No, it's too hot, too cold. That's because we're British, aren't we? It's too hot. We want the sun, but then it's too hot.
So get in amongst it. Any other final?
I think you should get like a little, get a little tagline, like an opener. So when you, for example, if you're going to dock walk, just say, hey, have you got any work? Think about something that, a little two-sentence thing about your experience that opens up. Because if you're telling them something about yourself, they're going to have to reply something. They can't say, no, I haven't got any jobs. It sort of gives you like an opener, I've got, 5 years of hospitality experience, I've done this and that. I'm super keen, have you got anything for me? And if you work on that little opener, then it gives you something to talk about. Because they always talk about getting that rapport, trying to get a bit of a chat on the dock, and that can be really quite tough.
Yeah.
And I would think about getting a little snazzy tagline. I always recommend that.
Snazzy tagline. Strapline,
Yeah, exactly. And you can use it when you send your CVs across as well to jobs you see on social media and things like that. You can have that little snippet about yourself, a little short sales pitch, really.
Yeah. That makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Find me at the beach probably would have been mine.
I've run out of money now. I really need a job.
Yeah. So something along those lines, maybe.
Do you think that might work?
Yeah. It's been lovely speaking to you.
It's been really nice.
We'll definitely have you on again if you'd like to.
Yeah, sure. If anyone would like to listen
like
to me waffle on about
crash guide into being a decky for women.
What not to do by Sophie Barber.
Because we've got a number of deck ladies obviously are involved with Yacht Pearls of Wisdom.
Exactly.
We obviously had Georgie on board who did like the full Academy Wars Ash training.
Yeah. I've worked with her in the past actually on a few.
She's fabulous as well. So there are some, as far as I'm concerned, crackers people that want to go outside and chamois. Thought it was a boy job.
Well, if you want to clean the poo off the loos, you do that.
Well, yes, yeah. There's always so many glamorous bits.
I know, it's so much less glamorous than so much less glamorous than I was sold.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be, living my high life on the yacht, but now I'm cleaning.
It is. I mean, when you talk to people, is it like below deck? I'd like to think my career wasn't as
sort of like below deck, but also not.
But then when you think about some of the stories, you're like, if there
know.
was a camera crew there, it probably would have been quite entertaining.
Well, exactly. You do see a lot of interesting people.
Yeah, interesting activities.
A lot of ladies of the night.
Just to finish up, we try and obviously with every individual, do you have a mental crazy story from your time on yachts that you're out of NDA and you can actually say?
Oh gosh, I was going to tarnish my reputation now completely. Yes, I did leave one yacht in the middle of the night with my suitcase, and
what?
I didn't say anything. I crept out and I was like, "Now with this." Off I went. So to put the story, it was was I deck? She deck? Anyway, I wanted to leave. It was near the end of the season, and it was my birthday in a few days' time. And my boyfriend at the time was going to meet me in Genoa. So I decided that I'd had enough of this. And I think
so on payday, you decided to pack your bag and leave in the middle of the night?
No, I asked him if I could leave, and he said, yes, you can leave, you can. And then they said, no, you can't. The guests might come back, no, you can't leave. And I was like, I'd already got it all in my head. I planned it all. And so I just left in the middle of the night. I just packed my bag and I just left in the middle of the night. Well, it wasn't technically the middle of the night. It was like 5 a.m. I was like, with my suitcase. Can you imagine what they must have thought when they woke up? I didn't hear from them.
Did you get paid?
I think I'd already been paid. Yeah.
Don't,
I can't remember.
Okay, so anybody listening, okay.
I wouldn't advise that. I mean,
if you're going to do that.
Don't do that. It's awful form. Can you imagine if I got a reference from that boat and then she left in the middle of the night? You'd be like, oh, I'm not employing her. But actually, I think it was my last boat.
Was it?
Yeah.
What, last ever?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think it was the last boat. I struggle to remember which boat it was, but I think it was the last one. I think that was it.
You just ducked out.
Yeah, I left in a storm. Yeah. See you, bye. Bye. But looking back at that was awful though. The poor team, they must have been really short. Down a team member just left in the middle of the night. I mean, who does that? Who does that?
Now she's a recruitment.
Yeah, exactly. Look at me now. Do as I do. But now I can spot the ones like me and I think, I'm not hiring her.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes it might be worthwhile leaving in the middle of the night. But don't do it unless you've had payday.
Yeah.
There's no way that
you're not going to get your money. Yeah, exactly.
If you do it before. So, FYI, you can do it, but yeah.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
It's not nice for your crew members. It's not great for your reputation.
No.
I'm glad I told everyone about that now as well.
The captain probably wouldn't forgive you, but like the rest of the crew probably wouldn't care.
Yeah, no, I did a joke about it with the other deckhands afterwards. Like, I can't believe you did that. I'm like, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
That's it for me. I'm out.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Really appreciate it. Obviously, we will try to get you guys on again.
Yeah, I can embarrass myself some more.
What not to do as a deck.
Yeah, gonna add some more shame to my reputation.
Why not?
Fantastic.
Why not? If you've been listening to this podcast, it's Tales from the Superyacht Laundry. Please check out our other episodes if you've listened to this one. If we've touched on any subjects that you're a bit concerned about, obviously maybe employment issues.
Yeah.
On the Wipeout app, we've got loads of advice from Nautilus and things, and basically grown-up people telling you what not to do.
Exactly, from our own experience.
So we can put you in contact with people if you are struggling to be paid because you snuck out.
She's snuck out in the middle of the night.
Thank you for joining us on this episode.
Thank you.
And we'll see you again soon.
Thank you, bye.